How you doing, guys? We are live on a Friday, and we have got the legend that is David Rahman with us. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Love to see you, Grant, Ed.
Good to see you. And we've got
you guys.
Edward the Dutchman. I like it. Like your handle, buddy. Like your handle. Working from home today.
I am indeed. I am daddy daycare, looking after the school run. And I only had one job, is to get my child on time to school today. And I did it. So that's good.
So today we are coming to the end of Men's Mental Health Week. So I thought it is appropriate that we have a chat about that today, because men's mental health gets quite a lot of publicity or quite enough recognition because it tends to be, I mean, and David, you'll probably be able to expand on this, but my perception of it is a lot of guys kind of keep their mental health hidden. And so when it does come out, when it does have any kind of reaction, it can tend to be quite extreme. Certainly in the past, I've had some very, close friends of mine that have suffered, terribly with mental health. I actually lost my best friend to suicide some years ago. So this one's very, very close to my heart. And something that, I think has affected all of us. But, as entrepreneurs, and of course, most of the audience are entrepreneurs, we struggle with stress. We have lots of things about expectations that we have, all the fears and worries that are put upon us as business owners that can cause us to go down the road of having times when we struggle with what's going on in our head. David, you've talked about this before. And I think all three of us will admit that we've had issues in the past where, our brains have been giving us thoughts that we'd rather not have.
Well, and a big thing, and we briefly chatted about this morning, David, is, why is it that men struggle to ask for help? That's, I mean, I've struggled with that as well. You got something on your mind, and then you bottle it up, you put it away, it arises again, and then suddenly, instead of talking about it, instead of asking for help or asking questions, it then comes out in rage or worse, other types of behavior. So why is it that men struggle to ask for help? All right, I'll leave you guys with that.
Good question. It's I've struggled. I struggled in the past, when I was a teenager, because I suppose the younger you are, when you're young, you don't know any different. If you don't know you're struggling, you just know you're an 18-year-old and you're just feeling down. Just have these moods and these feelings, and we don't know. And then you might think that your parents won't understand you. So that could be the first thoughts that, well, people won't understand how I feel, or I don't want to be laughed at. You have all these thoughts going through your head, or if I tell someone, they're going to think I'm strange or weird. We don't know how we thought at that young age, and as guys, we hear stuff, and we've seen it over the years where we've seen, man up, be a man, and grow a pair, and you just hear this stuff. And if you're hearing this stuff, then when you're about to share something, then you hear man up, or you hear that thought that what happens if somebody's going to shout at me, man up? It might stop you from sharing. Just these little things we've heard might stop us from opening up. Because opening up also signifies I'm going to have to tell someone my deepest thoughts, and what are they going to say? Because one of the biggest problems on this world at the moment is people are worried what other people will think. That's a worry by itself. So those are the things we feel. We don't want to feel emasculated. We don't want to feel disempowered. We don't want to feel, we don't want someone to say to us something which is not supportive. And that's a lot of men can then say, well, I'm going to keep it to myself.
David, would you, a lot of the conversations that we have when we're talking about the issues that people struggle with, and obviously in particular, we're talking about men now. What you've just said about, the man up thing is something you hear from a young age as a guy, isn't it? And sometimes, if you're not struggling, it's kind of what you need to hear and it's fine. But if you say it to the wrong person, or if you're, or somebody says it to you and you're in that kind of, you're questioning yourself, it can be quite damaging. And over the conversations that we've had over the years, the thing that crops up a lot is the perception that we worry about what other people think of us. It does seem to just keep cropping up. Because when it comes to men's mental health, as a guy, as a man, I can look back and think, and I've talked about this openly before, the time when my mental health has struggled is when I used to do presenting, when I would present to an audience, and I used to get panic attacks, and my logical brain didn't understand what was going on physically with me. Didn't make any sense, because as far as I knew about myself, I was a confident, self-assured person, and yet that didn't appear to be the case if I stood in front of an audience. And really, isn't that just a deep-rooted sense of me feeling like I'm being judged, or worrying about what other people would think about me?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when we're standing in front of people, no one wants to feel like they're being judged, because what they do is they feel the worst. If somebody's judging me, then our brain then thinks, what happens if they don't like me? What happens if I say the wrong thing? And so, men and women, but today's is about men, and we're always worried about what other people think. That's something that does happen, and it does creep up. Even if you don't think you're worried about what other people think, you do, because that's we're human beings, and that's the way we're built. We're built to look at our environment, look who's around us in our immediate environment. There's people around us, and we know we're being judged. But then when you go online like this, again, you're being judged, of course, because that's what human beings do. So with guys out there, I mean, what you just said was so true, that yes, you looked at yourself as a guy who's confident, yet the brain didn't compute. Why am I feeling like this when I speak or do presentations? And a lot of people are, a lot of guys can be very logically minded. So say for example, someone's an engineer, and as you know, they're very logically minded. They look at the world as a different way to say someone who's perhaps an artist. Different people have different ways of looking at the world. So say an engineer is very precise, and they look at things in a certain way and logical way. And therefore, when they're wanting to, perhaps, in their case, somebody's had an emotional upset, perhaps they don't know how to process it. They just don't know how to process this. And we're not given a handbook when we're growing up of what to do.
And neither are our parents, or us as parents,
Yeah. Yes.
And I think, I've got a son who's 19, you know, and looking back, I just pick up on something you said earlier, which I think was really true. When you're 18, 19, like my son is now, you don't know what you don't know, and so the feelings that you are feeling, you don't really question them when you're that age. So if you're feeling insecure or nervous or worried, or you know, all the emotions that you go through, you don't question it quite so much, because you're not sort of it's kind of the first time you're there, you know. And I remember thinking that when I was younger, and you know, that it's the first time experience, so you just kind of take it for granted that that's the way it is. As you get older, and this is where it messed with my head when I had my panic attacks, is that I'd had plenty of experience at that point, and I thought I'd got past all of that. So if I was, because I remember being at university and, you know, presenting to the students and the you know, in the form of presenting my work, no problem whatsoever. Got into my early career, did plenty of presentations, no problem. Then all of a sudden, somewhere in my mid-20s, something went wrong, and all of a sudden, and I didn't see it feel any different. But because, you know, I then had experience, I think that messed with my head even more.
Yes.
Because it's like, you said logically, it did not stack up. And so each time it happened, I would go, oh, that must have been a one-off. Surely that's not going to happen again. And sure enough, I'd do a couple more presentations, absolutely fine. And then all of a sudden, boom, it would kick in again.
And that stacking mechanism is what that really builds up a negative belief system. We have one little incident, and it happens. It could be shame or embarrassment, and you know, we're fine. We're 8 years old. Okay, we felt embarrassed, but then it happens again when we're 11, 15, 18, 20, and then we go from zero to embarrassment really quickly. It can happen really quickly with that stacking, and it's same with this and what you just said. And I was the opposite, for example. When I was 18, no confidence. There's no way I was going to do presentations. When I was 20, I remember in university, I was shit in a brick. Brick in it, and I don't know how to put that, but that's the way I was doing. So nervous, petrified of doing any sort of speaking. And I remember I had to do a dissertation, and my slot was 2 p.m. in the afternoon after lunch. So I was bricking it all morning and lunchtime. When I did it, I was bricking it, I was sweating, but when I did it, I quite enjoyed it. I couldn't understand why I was enjoying this towards the end. My heart was racing, and then 5 minutes into it, I was enjoying it. So perhaps it was something that was in me to do it in the future, which yes, that's what happened. But therefore I've suffered this for a long, long time. So I'm curious and really fascinated by how the mind works, obviously. And you know, if anyone out there is really at they're worried about this, then I will say, just talk to your spouse or talk to your best friend, talk to someone you know is going to listen to you. Just it's not a shame or embarrassment to open up and say, listen, I'm scared. It's okay. You're a man, but a man is a human being. We're human beings, and you've got the same right as a child to be heard of, the same right as a woman to be heard of, you know. So exercise that right. Stop thinking you have no right.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I use my personal example as something that, you know, is close to me, but compared to, you know, some of the guys out there that may be listening to this, what I experienced was nothing compared to what some people feel, and they keep it bottled up. They keep it bottled up. And I think this is, and when you're in business, there are so many pressures on a man, you know, to appear like they're in control, to, you know, to be a man, you know, and man up and all those things. And every day, and I know this from personal experience in the past, people turn up with their facade on, that they're in control and that they're, you know, going in the right direction. But inside, as soon as they get to a place where they're on their own, they crumble, you know, and they keep it to themselves. And suicidal thoughts, you know, is what we're talking about here. Men can have suicidal thoughts that nobody is aware of. You know, you would never know from the outside. My own personal experience was you know, was that my granddad actually committed suicide. And that was you know, such a shock for somebody who'd been through so much in his life and dealt with so much. But ultimately, you know, loneliness and got to him. It got to him. And how many people out there are listening to this are feeling those pressures, but they're not letting anybody know. You know, they're not asking for help, because guys are crap at asking for help. They really are.
We are. Yes, it's true. And I think one of the best things I've ever done for myself is realize that get help, and just talk to someone. And the people out there who are, if you're silently suffering out there, you know, just know one thing: you're no less of a man if you get help. In fact, it's a sign of strength. Get help. It's not a sign of strength to not get help, you know?
That's so true, isn't it? Because when you've got this front, and when you are, you know, portraying somebody that's in control and is holding it all together, you have to be so brave to admit that that's not actually the case and to ask for help. And it's, you know, and that's why, you know, some people talk about suicidal thoughts and actually trying to take your own life as the easy way out, because it is so difficult to admit that you're struggling, you know. And from my perspective, you know, on a much less serious note, you know, part of what we do, you know, part of what we enjoy, like with the boot camp last week. And by the way, guys, and David, such massive positive feedback from that boot camp last week. And I know for a fact, from having personal conversations with lots of people, we genuinely help people last week and ongoing, and it's still spreading, the help that we gave. And I just hope that a conversation like this, that's brutally honest, can help other people to actually, you know, it's okay. It's okay to not have all your shit together. It's okay to have thoughts that, you know, that because you're worried about how you're performing, whether it's pressures in business. Money is a big one, isn't it? Especially with entrepreneurs, money is massive. But reach out, you know, and if anybody wants to reach out to me, you know, I more, you know, business is what we do. We all have stresses. We all have stresses. I mean, you know, you must get it a lot as well, David. It's kind of your forte, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just thinking about someone out there. With entrepreneurs, especially the solopreneurs, it can be the longest thing in the world when you're on your own and you are feeling like you're having to do everything. You know, you don't have that team, so you're having to do your sales calls, your marketing. You think you've got to do your website, and one of the things that drives people to think about those dark thoughts is that overwhelm, that feeling I've got to do everything myself, and what if I don't succeed? And you know, things like, are people gonna laugh at me? Am I gonna be deemed a failure? And they start comparing their life against others and start looking at, you look on social media and you start then being weighed down by your own expectations, feeling should I be doing better right now? And looking at obviously the money situation and not telling anyone. And the thing is, this feeling of loneliness and this feeling of overwhelm can drive you to despair. But there's always a solution. I always feel there's always a solution, people out there. You know, if this episode's for guys. There's always someone who's going to help you get a nugget out of wisdom to help you think differently. Because we might have dark thoughts. I've been there where I've had dark thoughts. But there are a lot of people who can help you to make sense of the situations. Just making sense of the situation to think, how can I make this situation better? And it does take a bit of work. You know, sometimes it does take a bit of work to realize, right, maybe I can delegate something. Maybe it doesn't have to be me who's just having to do the design work, or me, get someone to help you, a family member to help you. Something, could there be something in your life that you need help with? And if it's a relationship, can you get help for that? What is it that you can get help with? So I always think that the first step really is awareness, and then the second step is acknowledgement. Acknowledge, right, I got something wrong. Acknowledge it. It doesn't make you less of a man or a human being. And then the third step is take some action. Just speak to someone, even if it's if you go to the lengths of calling the Samaritans, just call someone who's gonna help you make sense of it, because you've got your family to think about. I know, I've been there when I've had dark thoughts, but you've got a family, the people that who you impact by your actions and by as a human being, what you do. So think about them. But really, I'm looking again, like Grant. If someone needs help, reach out. I'm here to. If you need something, reach out. Just reach out, and we can help you, because I've been there, and it's something that I understand loneliness, and I understand feeling overwhelmed, crushed, and if you think that the only way out is to have these dark thoughts and to think suicidal thoughts, but there is a way out. What I'm hopefully saying to someone out there is there's a way out, and often that first step is just to talk.
I think you're right there, because asking for help is so difficult. But if you try and fix it yourself, a lot of the things that you will try and do to motivate yourself can make yourself feel worse.
Mm.
So for example, like the kind of just man up kind of attitude, or when you're trying to sort of think positively, or somebody's trying to, or you're listening to something, sometimes that whole attitude can just make it worse, because it's not gonna fix it, and therefore you spiral down. Reaching out for help is really the first step after. Well, it's after awareness, isn't it? You acknowledge it, and then you've got to reach out to somebody. And I think that the other thing from my own experience is proactively reaching out to other people, letting them know you're there. Letting them know that you're there for them, and not being judgy or anything else, because certainly that can make all the difference to some people. It really can.
And to add to that, even if you don't reach out to someone, just almost create this opportunity for someone to know that you're there. Because sometimes when you do reach out to someone, yep, they're ready, but sometimes they're not ready to tell you. But if your door is open without having to tell them it's open, there's more likelihood that they'll walk through that door and ask for help. There's a long sentence there. What
So I've just read it actually. One of the viewers has made an app for ex-service people that are struggling with their mental health, and he's made it with an ex-Marine. It's called Man Down app, and it's already mentioned it and it's already saved a life since it's been published. So I'm not sure who posted that because I can't. It just says Facebook user, so they're not logged into the system.
That's fantastic.
Might be good just to let us know who you are. But it's published on the Apple App Store, so it's specifically for service people by the sound of it. You know, as we know, it gets highlighted a lot. There's a lot of ex-service people that struggle with their health. It's John. Yes, I've just had a message through. I'll bring Ed back in actually. So is that John? Is it who's done the app?
Yeah, I've been moderating the chat. It's John, and it's the Man Down UK. There's lots of advice. I mean, just as a thing, I've been listening to it, guys. It's absolutely awesome. And I think it's also sometimes when you spot people in trouble, it's okay to reach out to people and ask if they're okay. And this is something I saw recently with I can't remember his name now. He's the son of one of the people from. I'm getting old.
Sorry, guys. Ed's got mental health problems himself.
Spandau Ballet. That's
Tony.
it.
Oh yeah, Tony.
No, the other one.
Martin Kemp?
Roman Kemp. That's it. Roman Kemp.
Son of Martin.
His son apparently struggles terribly with anxiety.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he's on a bit of a mission to sort of help young people with their mental health. But that was really a key thing. It's you need to go beyond. Are you okay? You then need to say, are you sure? Is there something you need to talk to me about? It's okay. You need to go. Because we do that, right? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But then to go, are you sure? Is there anything you need to talk to me about? And then they either go, oh, don't be weird, right? And they say, yeah, we brush it off. Because we're so programmed to say, yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, so, but I thought that was really cool, actually. I mean, this guy, Roman Kemp, I couldn't believe how he has to take medication to sort of really keep.
He lost one of his friends, didn't he? I think to suicide.
Oh, it's insane! Yeah, somebody you worked with, like young guys, really talented, young, fit, beautiful, young-looking people. You think, what's going on?
That happens so much. I mean, we've seen a lot of that where these celebrities, they're suffering behind the scenes. The pressure that people put themselves under in their own mind.
It's crazy. But sorry, excuse the pun. But but that's it. I thought it was quite cool actually, and there's these young men sort of really talking about it. So there is help, but just reach out to people, and sometimes just a friendly word, a pat on the back, so you're okay. It's actually that physical touch that makes a big difference. Just holding somebody on the shoulder and say, like, are you okay? That can make a massive difference. They can suddenly feel a little bit more relaxed and everything's okay now.
That says
anyway, that was it for me. That was my little bit.
What you've just said, that that there must be a lot more people suffering right now because of the lack of physical contact as well.
Gosh, amazing. Yeah.
Right then, guys, we're out of time. Been a sensitive issue today, and I hope that there's people out there that have found that helpful. We've all put ourselves out there, guys, in terms of are you okay? And if you need us, you know where we are. We're very easy to access. David, as always, thank you for your time and your wise words. And have a fantastic weekend, everybody. And we'll see you very soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.